Our next set of problems will be problems 22 through 24. So in 22, we have negative 239.31 divided by 0.3 plus negative 10.51. And we have to be careful to remember that we follow first order of operations, which says any multiplication or division takes place before addition or subtraction. And second, we need to remember our integer rules for multiplying and dividing. A negative divided by a positive is going to result in a negative solution. So, I'm going to take just this first part and find out its solution so that I can take that solution and add it to my negative 10.51. So negative 239.31 divided by 0.3. And hopefully by now you're already remembering that you need to move this decimal over one place, because we divide by a whole number always. And so I'm also going to move this decimal here over one place. And before I forget where my decimal place is, which I've seen a lot happen in class, I'm going to bring it up. So now we can start our long division process. 3 does not go into 2, so I need to see if it will go into 23. 3 goes into 23 7 times. Again, be careful where you put the 7. 7 is going into 23 as a whole, so it needs to go above the 3, not above the 2. I've seen a lot this past week of individuals putting it in front of the 2, and then when you get to the end down here and not sure what to do with your blank space, you just fill it in with zeros, and that doesn't work. 7 times 3 is 21. 23 minus 21 is now 2. Bring down the 9. 7 goes into 29 9 times, so 9 times 3 is 27. Bring down the 2. Bring down our next term. 3 again goes into 23 only 7 times, so 7 times 3 is 21. 21 from 23 is 2. Bring down our last term. And remember, this last term is on the right side of the decimal, so its response should go on the right side of the decimal as well. 3 goes into 21 and even 7 times on that right side of the decimal. Brings me down to a 0. I no longer need to bring down any numbers or add any zeros because we have completed a terminating decimal. Again, we said a negative divided by a positive should result in a negative solution, so negative 797.7. And as I said when we began this problem, we're going to take our solution for negative 239.31 divided by 0.3, and we are going to add that to negative 10.51. And our integer rules for adding and subtracting tell us that when we have two numbers that are both the same sign, we add them together and keep their sign. So I'm going to add 797.7 to 10.51. Hopefully by now you see how much practice you're getting with not only your integer rules, but also adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing fractions and integers and decimals. This is why understanding your 6th grade standards has been so important to being effective in learning this new strategies and new rules for the 8th grade standards. 1 and 0 is 1, 7 and 5 is 12, carry the 1, 7 and 1 is 8, 9 and 1 is 10, carry the 1, 7 and 1 again is 8, and when you add decimals, you bring your decimals straight down because you line them up at the beginning of the problem. And so our solution, because we added two negative values, our final answer should also be negative because we kept the sign. Our solution is 808.21. Problem number 23. We now have two fractions, and in order to add the fractions, we need to get them out of a mixed number form because I really don't care for mixed numbers in this class. So we will multiply our leading term by our denominator. So 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11 over 5. And our original fraction here was negative, so we want to keep it negative, and I like to keep that negative sign in the numerator preferably. And our second fraction here, now we need to change to a mixed number. So minus 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11 over 3. And if we remember, we can rewrite this problem using our additive inverse rule. So negative 11 over 5 plus the opposite of this negative 11 over 3. And so now we need to find our common denominator. Our common denominator is obviously going to be 15. So I'm going to go ahead and put 15 in both my denominator places and my plus sign in the middle. And it took 5 times 3 to get 15. So negative 11 times 3 would be negative 33. And then we had 3 in our denominator, and we multiplied it by 5 to get 15. So we multiply our numerator by 5. Negative 11 times 5 is negative 55. And now just looking at the problem, we have a negative plus a negative in our numerator. And so we will carry that out and simplify. 33 and 55 is 88. Keep the sign over 15. So our solution is negative 88 over 15. Obviously, with any fraction, you want to make sure it can't simplify any further. And this one looks like it's pretty good because 2 won't go into either number, 3 won't go into both numbers, 4 won't go into both numbers. I think we're all right with negative 88 over 15. And then problem 24. The first thing I would do is, using our rule for a repeating number, is convert this one to a mixed number so that I can convert it to an improper fraction. Because again, I don't like mixed numbers preferably. So negative 5 is our whole value, and now we want to determine what is our fraction value based on what's after the decimal. And we learned a rule that anytime you have a repeat sign, you put a 1 in the numerator and a 9 in the denominator for however many terms you have in the numerator. And in this case, we only have one term in the numerator, so we will only need 1 9 in the denominator. And since the numbers are next to each other, there's no sign between the parentheses in the first term. That means we're multiplying the two together. So I'm going to go ahead and put a multiplying sign just to help refresh my memory. So now I need to take this mixed number and change it to an improper fraction. 9 times 5 is 45, plus 1 is 46. And that was negative, so I'll keep it negative. 46 over 9 times 6 over 5. And this is where I like to try to clean my fraction up a little bit before I multiply a big number, because I can see right away that I have a 9 and a 6, and 3 goes into both of those numbers pretty evenly. So 3 will go into 6 2 times, and 3 will go into 9 3 times. And I don't see anything else that will simplify any further, so now we can just multiply across. 46 times 2, negative 46 times 2 is negative 138, and 3 times 5 is 15. And since we cleaned up our fraction here, and there was nothing that simplified there, the chances of there being anything that simplify over to the right are very slim because we already pulled out our least common multiples. So our solution would be negative 138 over 15.